critical health inspection failures, bacterial contamination, and food held at temperatures that breed deadly pathogens, all documented at some of America's most popular all-you-can-eat buffet chains. But walk into the wrong buffet, and what you're really eating is reheated leftovers laced with Clostridium toxins, recycled frying oil breaking down into carcinogens, and raw seafood sitting in the temperature danger zone long enough to grow bacteria that can kill you. If this has been your go-to dinner spot for 10, 20, 30 years, everything we found has been on your plate that entire time. Today, I'm breaking down 11 buffet restaurants hiding serious dangers behind those sneeze guards, plus 2 that prove the model doesn't have to be dangerous. Some of these will confirm what you suspected, but at least 3 on this list will shock you. Coming in at number 11, Hometown Buffet. The name alone sounds like something safe. Home, town, a place where neighbors eat together and the mashed potatoes taste like your grandmother made them. Hometown Buffet built its entire identity on that promise. Affordable comfort food for American families who just want a decent meal without breaking the bank. Then the health inspectors walked in. Multiple locations received critical violations for holding food at improper temperatures. Not warm, not hot, borderline. Right in the danger zone between 40 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit, where bacteria multiply every 20 minutes. Picture that steam table. The mac and cheese has been sitting there since 11 in the morning. By 1 o'clock, it's had 4 full bacterial doubling cycles. By 3, you're eating a petri dish with a serving spoon sticking out of it. Cross-contamination citations stacked up across locations. Raw proteins stored near ready-to-eat items. Serving utensils shared between stations. The absolute basics of food safety ignored at industrial scale. The parent company, Ovation Brands, filed for bankruptcy. Not once, repeatedly. When a company can't keep its own finances alive, it's not investing in food safety upgrades. It's cutting every corner that doesn't show up on a customer's plate immediately, except it does show up. It shows up 3 days later when you're in the emergency room with a fever and cramping. For anyone managing a chronic condition or taking daily medication that suppresses immune response, those borderline holding temperatures aren't just a code violation. They're an invitation for Salmonella, Staphylococcus, and Bacillus cereus to thrive in food your body simply can't fight off the way it used to. Hometown Buffet sold you the word home. What they served belonged in a biohazard bin. That was the brand that promised comfort. The next one promised home-style Southern cooking. It delivered something far worse. At number 10, Ryan's Restaurant, a beloved Southern buffet chain that built its following on biscuits, fried chicken, and the kind of food that reminded people of Sunday dinner. The prices were low enough that regulars came back every single week. Some came every day. Then the inspection reports told a very different story. Pest infestations documented across multiple locations. Not a stray fly near the dessert bar. Cockroaches. In the kitchen. On food prep surfaces where your dinner was being assembled. Employees handling ready-to-eat food without gloves. Bare hands touching the rolls you're about to eat. The salad you're about to fork into your mouth. For anyone on blood pressure medication or managing diabetes, alongside families feeding their kids from the same buffet line, the sodium content alone in Ryan's steam table gravies was a medical event on a plate. We're talking sodium levels that can directly interfere with ACE inhibitors, the very drugs keeping your blood pressure stable. Gravy that can spike blood glucose in a single serving. Your doctor adjusts your medication by milligrams. Ryan's dumps sodium by the ladle. The chain collapsed under the weight of its own neglect. Bankruptcy followed. Locations shuttered across the South. But the damage was already done to bodies that trusted this place for years. Years of regulars eating contaminated food. Years of families trusting a brand that couldn't keep cockroaches out of the kitchen where their children's plates were being filled. Ryan's sold nostalgia. The health department found nightmares behind the kitchen doors. If the budget chains can't keep it together, at least the ones with a gimmick try harder, right? Wrong. Number 9. Ponderosa Steakhouse. Steak and a buffet. 2 things Americans love combined into one restaurant concept. Ponderosa attracted older diners who wanted real beef alongside an unlimited salad and hot food bar. The steak was the hook. The buffet was the trap. Health inspections at numerous locations documented food sitting in the temperature danger zone for extended periods, not minutes, hours. The salad bar that looked crisp and fresh at noon was a bacterial colony by 2 in the afternoon. But the worst part hid in the fryer. Cooking oils reused well past safe limits. When oil breaks down from repeated heating, it doesn't just taste bad. It generates trans fats and toxic aldehydes, compounds that directly elevate LDL cholesterol, the dangerous kind that clogs your arteries and triggers cardiovascular events. Inadequate sanitization of buffet serving utensils meant every customer who came before you left something behind. Not just fingerprints, pathogens transferred from hand to spoon to food to your plate in an unbroken chain of contamination. For anyone already watching their cholesterol numbers or families whose members depend on statin medications to stay alive, those degraded frying oils are doing the exact opposite of what your prescription prescriptions are trying to accomplish. Your cardiologist says lower your LDL. Ponderosa's fryer says otherwise. Every reheated, refried item on that line carried a cardiovascular cost that never appeared on the menu. A steak dinner shouldn't come with a side of arterial damage. At Ponderosa, it did. Every plate, every visit, every bite from that fryer was a deposit into a cardiovascular debt your body was already struggling to pay. You'd think a chain linked to an actual deadly outbreak would disappear forever. You'd be wrong. Number 8. Sizzler. Once an American dining institution, affordable steak combos, a salad bar that stretched the length of the restaurant, the kind of place that generations of families trusted for decades. Then 1993 happened. Milwaukee. An E. coli outbreak traced to a Sizzler location killed multiple people and hospitalized hundreds. Not stomach aches, not mild discomfort, death, kidney failure. Children and older adults hit hardest because their bodies couldn't fight what the buffet line delivered. That single outbreak should have ended the brand permanently. It didn't. Subsequent locations continued drawing health inspection citations for the same fundamental failures that caused the outbreak in the first place. Temperature abuse, cross-contamination between raw and cooked items. The lessons written in human suffering went unlearned. E. coli doesn't care about your brand loyalty. Salmonella doesn't read your marketing materials. For anyone whose gut immune defenses have naturally weakened with age, or families with young children whose immune systems aren't fully developed, exposure to these pathogens isn't a stomachache. It's potential kidney failure. It's hospitalization and IV fluids. It's specialist consultations and lasting organ damage from something that started as a trip to the salad bar on a Tuesday evening. People died at Sizzler. The name survived. The victims didn't all recover, and the salad bar kept serving. The 1993 outbreak made national headlines. The ongoing violations barely make local papers. That silence is the most dangerous thing on the menu. Multiple people died. Hundreds were hospitalized, and the chain that caused it never fundamentally changed how it handles food. The outbreak was in 1993. The negligence continues today. That was a chain where people died, and the doors stayed open. The next one is America's largest buffet chain, and it has undercover footage you need to see. Number 7. Golden Corral. The biggest, the boldest, endless variety, fresh carved meats, made from scratch recipes. That's what the commercials promise. Here's what the cameras caught. Undercover footage captured food being stored on surfaces adjacent to dumpsters outside the kitchen, not near the dumpster area, next to actual dumpsters. Chocolate fountains contaminated with visible debris. Inspection reports from dozens of locations across the country documented repeated violations for holding temperatures. The same fundamental failure that plagues every chain on this list, except Golden Corral does it at a scale no one else matches. Over 360 locations serving millions of Americans weekly. And the sodium content makes everything worse. A typical Golden Corral plate can exceed an entire day's recommended sodium intake in a single serving. Not a full meal. One plate. Pile on the carved ham, the mac and cheese, the gravy, the mashed potatoes, and you've consumed more sodium in one sitting than your doctor wants you to have in 24 hours. For anyone managing hypertension or taking medication to prevent stroke, that single plate is working directly against your prescriptions. Your pills lower blood pressure by fractions of a point. Golden Corral raises it by the plateful. The dumpster footage went viral. Golden Corral issued corporate statements. The buffet lines reopened the very next morning. Dumpster food, contaminated chocolate, 360 locations. America's biggest buffet didn't earn that title by being the best. They earned it by being the cheapest. And now you know the cost. If this helps you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe. It's free, and it means you'll never miss these exposés. You just saw what the big chains are hiding, so surely spending less at a pizza buffet is at least honest about what it is, right? Not even close. Number 6. CeCe's Pizza. Unlimited pizza, pasta, and salad for under $10. That price tag alone tells you everything you need to know about what's inside. There's a reason it costs less than a single pizza at a real pizzeria. And the reason isn't efficiency. Health inspections across franchise locations have documented moldy ingredients sitting in prep areas, pest droppings near food preparation surfaces where your dough is being shaped, pizza dough stored at unsafe temperatures where yeast becomes a breeding ground for bacteria instead of a leavening agent. Walk in and look at the pizza bar. Those pies have been sitting under heat lamps since the last rush. The cheese has congealed into a rubbery film. The crust has gone from crispy to cardboard. That's not aging. That's decomposition in slow motion. Each plate of their heavily processed pizza delivers a concentrated payload of refined carbohydrates and sodium engineered to taste just good enough that you go back for plate after plate. That's the business model. Volume over quality. Fill up fast, leave full, come back next week. For the 1 in 3 Americans over 50 living with diabetes or prediabetes and their families eating right alongside them at the same table, those refined carbs convert to blood sugar faster than your body can produce insulin to manage it. 1 plate is a spike. 3 plates is a medical event happening in real time, under $10. That's the price of unlimited pizza made from the cheapest ingredients available. CeCe's gives you unlimited refills. They never mention what comes free with every slice. Think budget pizza is the bottom of the barrel? The next brand hid something even the bankruptcy courts couldn't clean up. Number 5. Old Country Buffet, traditional American comfort food in a wholesome, family-oriented setting. The senior lunch crowd packed the place every weekday. Predictable food, predictable prices, a place where the routine felt safe and the faces were familiar. Then the inspections revealed what routine was actually hiding. The parent company went through multiple bankruptcies while locations accumulated health violations for one of the most dangerous practices in the entire food service industry. Reservist food. Food that was put out on the buffet line, sat there for hours absorbing bacteria, was pulled back to the kitchen, inadequately cooled, stored overnight, reheated the next morning, and put back out under a new label. That cycle of heating and cooling and reheating creates textbook conditions for Clostridium perfringens. This is a toxin-producing bacterium that thrives in exactly this temperature abuse pattern. Not a theoretical risk. The CDC identifies it as one of the most common causes of foodborne illness in America, responsible for nearly 1 million cases annually. And it devastates older adults. The severe dehydration Clostridium causes can destabilize blood pressure medications, crash electrolyte balance, and land someone who felt perfectly fine yesterday in a hospital bed today hooked to an IV. Expired food being reserviced. Inadequate cooling procedures documented in black and white. Old Country Buffet served comfort food. They recycled yesterday's danger and renamed it today's special. Wholesome on the sign outside. Clostridium perfringens on the plate inside. And every regular who ate there weekly for years carried that risk home without ever knowing what they'd really been served. At least the chains with decades of tradition behind them must have learned something by now. Surely experience counts for something. This next one proves tradition means nothing without accountability. Number 4. Shoney's. That breakfast bar was a Sunday morning tradition for millions of Americans across the Southeast. Families who went there after church every single week. Couples who'd been regulars for 40 straight years. The kind of deep loyalty built on decades of showing up and trusting that familiar orange roof would never let them down. Multiple locations have been cited for cockroach infestations. Not a single roach spotted once during a random visit. Established infestations. Colonies living in the walls, breeding near the buffet lines, crawling through the kitchens where your scrambled eggs and bacon were being prepared that very morning. Employees documented working while visibly ill, handling your food while symptomatic with transmissible illness. Buffet items found without proper date labeling or temperature logs, meaning nobody on staff knew how long that sausage had been sitting there. Nobody knew whether it had ever reached a safe temperature in the first place. Norovirus transmitted through improperly handled food hits adults over 50 significantly harder than younger populations. The violent dehydration it causes can trigger acute kidney injury in anyone with even mild age-related renal decline. You don't know you've been exposed until a full day later when the symptoms explode. By then, the damage is already cascading. For anyone whose kidneys are already working harder than they used to, or families whose elderly parents treat Shoney's like a sacred weekly ritual, that Sunday tradition carries a Monday consequence nobody warned you about. 40 years of trust. 40 years of cockroaches behind the walls. The next brand on this list marketed itself as the healthy alternative, the safe buffet, the place where wellness-minded people ate without guilt or worry. They were wrong. Number 3, Souplantation, also known as sweet tomatoes, fresh salads, hearty soups, warm bakery items straight from the oven. No fried food, no greasy burgers, no steam table mystery meat sweating under heat lamps. Souplantation was the buffet for people who didn't eat at buffets. The conscious choice, the clean option, except for one fundamental flaw baked into the entire business model that no amount of fresh produce could fix. Self-serve salad bars where hundreds of customers touch the same serving utensils every single day with virtually zero contamination contamination control. Every sneeze aimed at the romaine, every unwashed hand grabbing the tongs, every sick toddler reaching into the crouton bin transferred pathogens directly to the next person's plate. Shared utensil salad bars are documented transmission vectors for hepatitis A and Listeria monocytogenes. Not theoretical risks published in obscure journals. Documented pathways confirmed by epidemiologists studying real outbreaks. Both pathogens carry significantly higher mortality rates in adults over 50, especially those with compromised liver function or immune systems suppressed by daily medications. The chain permanently closed every single location in 2020. The pandemic didn't just hurt the business model, it exposed what food safety experts had warned about for years. The self-serve buffet concept is inherently, structurally unsafe. The very thing that attracted health-conscious diners was the mechanism that spread disease most efficiently. Souplantation closed for good. The vegetables were real. The contamination risk was realer. A healthy menu means nothing when the delivery system is a petri dish with salad tongs. We're not done. The next brand on this list is one most people visit regularly without a second thought, and what's hiding inside should change that permanently. Number 2. The independent Chinese buffet restaurants scattered across America. No single brand name. No corporate headquarters to call, just thousands of locations in strip malls and shopping centers from coast to coast, promising abundant food at prices that feel almost too good. They are too good. FDA and local health department records paint a consistent and disturbing picture. These establishments rank among the most frequently cited for critical food safety violations nationwide. Raw shellfish held at temperatures where bacteria multiply exponentially. Cooking oil recycled through so many uses, it chemically degrades into harmful aldehyde compounds. The same toxic byproducts linked to accelerated cardiovascular disease and chronic kidney inflammation building up in oil that started as harmless vegetable oil and ended as a slow-acting poison through sheer, relentless reuse. The sodium loads in a typical plate are staggering. High-sodium soy-based sauces combined with MSG at concentrated levels that can trigger dangerous blood pressure spikes in anyone already managing hypertension. For people taking daily blood pressure medication or families who eat at these buffets weekly as an affordable dinner tradition, every single visit layers more sodium, more degraded oil compounds, and more temperature-abused protein into a system already under medical stress. Your body doesn't reset between visits, it accumulates. The low price brings millions of customers back. The low standards bring the health department back. No corporate PR team issues reassuring statements. Nobody takes responsibility. Just thousands of locations, thousands of violations, and millions of plates served between inspections. The price is low, the cost is high. Check your recent restaurant receipts, because the #1 spot goes to a category of buffet that millions of Americans visit specifically for the premium items on the line. And those premium items are the most dangerous things in the building. Number 1, Mandarin Buffet, Hibachi Grill, and Supreme Buffet, and every large-format Asian mega buffet promising hundreds of items, including sushi, crab legs, and Mongolian grill stations for one impossibly low price. These establishments consistently top local health department violation lists in cities across America. Raw fish served at temperatures where pathogens flourish. Previously served crab legs pulled from customers' discarded plates, recycled back onto the buffet line, and presented as fresh. Raw proteins stored directly above ready-to-eat items in walk-in coolers, dripping contamination onto food that will never be cooked again before reaching your mouth. The sushi is the headline attraction. It's also the single most dangerous item in the entire building. Raw and undercooked seafood held at improper temperatures creates acute Vibrio vulnificus risk. This isn't a common stomach bug that passes in a day. Vibrio vulnificus is 15 times more likely to be fatal in adults over 50. 15 times, especially those managing liver conditions, living with diabetes, or taking daily medications that suppress immune function. One contaminated piece of sushi from a mega buffet where temperature logs are pure fiction can put you in intensive care within 48 hours. Those crab legs everyone fights over at the buffet station have been recycled from previous service periods, reheated and reshelled, and put right back on the ice display. 200 items for $15. The math doesn't work because the safety doesn't exist. Hundreds of items, hundreds of violations. One trip that could end in the ICU. Drop a comment if you've eaten at any of these in the last month. Let's see how many of us have been rolling the dice. What's the worst thing you've ever seen at a buffet line? I want to hear your stories below. 11 chains exposed. From hometown buffets' bacterial steam tables to Golden Corral's dumpster-adjacent food storage. From Sizzler's deadly outbreak to the mega buffets serving recycled crab legs at dangerous temperatures. But don't swear off eating out entirely. 2 restaurants prove the all-you-can-eat model can work safely when someone actually bothers to do it right. Safe pick 1. Fogo de Ch&atilde. This is what happens when a restaurant systematically eliminates every single failure point we just spent the last 20 minutes exposing. No steam tables holding food for hours in the danger zone. No self-serve lines where hundreds of unwashed hands touch the same utensils. No reheated leftovers recycled from yesterday's service and relabeled as fresh. Fogo de Ch&atilde operates a continuous service churrascaria model where meats are carved to order at your table, directly from temperature-controlled skewers that never leave the flame until they reach your plate. The protein goes from heat source to your fork in seconds. No holding time, no danger zone window, no bacterial multiplication opportunity. The chain maintains rigorous USDA inspected sourcing for every single cut of meat they serve. Their market table salad bar operates fundamentally differently from the self-serve disaster we exposed at Souplantation. Small batches prepared with individual staff oversight and frequent refreshing throughout service. Employees monitor the bar continuously rather than abandoning it to the public for hours at a stretch. For anyone watching their protein intake, managing cholesterol levels, or simply wanting a meal where the food was cooked minutes ago instead of hours ago, the options here put you back in control of what enters your body. Lean cuts like picanha and lamb are carved in visible, controlled portions right in front of you. You see exactly what you're getting. You choose fresh vegetables and unseasoned cuts to manage your sodium. No hidden MSG, no recycled oil, no mystery ingredients lurking under a heat lamp. The price is significantly higher than Golden Corral, but you're paying for food that won't send you to the emergency room. That's not a luxury. That's the minimum standard 11 other restaurants couldn't meet. Safe pick 2, Bacchanal Buffet at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. If the idea of a safe buffet sounds impossible after everything we've covered, this restaurant exists to prove otherwise. The Bacchanal operates under the Southern Nevada Health District, one of the most rigorous food safety inspection regimes in America. Not the underfunded oversight that let Golden Corral store food beside dumpsters. Not the understaffed departments that visit independent buffets once a year. Active, aggressive, zero-tolerance enforcement with real consequences. The restaurant prepares dishes in small batches from 9 open exhibition kitchens visible to every diner. You can watch your food being made. You can see temperature controls in action. Chef-attended stations with made-to-order cooking replace the anonymous steam tables that breed bacteria at every other buffet on this list. Trays are replaced far more frequently than standard buffets because the premium price model supports the labor cost of doing food safety correctly. That's the equation every budget buffet fails. Keeping food safe costs money. Bacchanal charges enough to spend it. For anyone managing dietary restrictions, watching sodium, or avoiding allergens, the made-to-order stations let you request exactly how your food is prepared. Low sodium, no shellfish, cross-contact. Cooked to your specifications minutes before you eat it. Not reheated from this morning. Not recycled from last night. Not sitting under a lamp since breakfast. The Bacchanal is not cheap. But after 11 restaurants that failed every basic food safety standard, one that passes them all is proof the industry knows exactly how to protect you. Most of them simply choose not to. Your next meal out should be nourishment, not a gamble. Subscribe now, and if you're watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.